Hi, hello. My name is Rajashekar Chandran. I'm from Chennai, India. It's really been an honor and privilege for me to be part of ES Next Conf. Thank you for Pika and the organizers for having me here. This is about me. I work as front-end developer at a company called Freshworks. In Freshworks, we build simple and innovative SaaS products for CRM solutions for businesses of all sizes. I'm Rajashekar on GitHub and Rajashekar underscore C on Twitter. So this is a talk about CSS in JS library called CSC. Before diving into the topic, let's set some context first. Let's see what CSS in JS is, how it started. As far as I can remember, back in November 2014, Christopher Chedo from the Facebook front-end infrastructure team had given a very thought-provoking talk about how CSS is fundamentally flawed and how we can overcome this problem by styling CSS using JS. So he talked about problems of using CSS at scale, problems like global namespaces, dependencies, dead code elimination, and so on. So this talk is not about convincing yourself to drop CSS and use JavaScript instead, but rather this talk is about how CSS has fundamental flaws and how this can be overcome by using styling in JavaScript. And that's how CSS and JS became a viable option for styling in JavaScript. From then on, the web development community has come up with a lot of CSS and JS libraries. CSS and JS has been one of the biggest evolutions in the CSS world. Just like preprocessor bypassed CSS to introduce their own set of new features, CSS and JS relies on JavaScript power to make their own path. According to the state of CSS 2019, some libraries like Style Components and Emotion have established themselves as solid options, but the overall ecosystem is still very fragmented and in constant movement, and there remains to be a big question what place CSS and JS will occupy in the long run. And using CSS and JS introduces its own set of challenges. We need compilation because the syntax is not supported in the browsers because we are using different camel case naming conventions and so on. And we need to load the necessary plugins to process CSS inside JavaScript, and a build step is essential to generate the final CSS output. So you might be thinking why I choose a library called CSC over other CSS and JS solutions. What problems did CSC solve for us? Let's take a look at the list of use cases or scenarios where CSS might come handy for you. If you are looking for a framework agnostic CSS and JS solution, then CSC might be the right candidate for you. If you want to load your style sheets dynamically from CSS files without having to worry about flashes of unstyled content, then CSC can help you out. And if you want your style definitions to be efficiently cached, then CSC is a good library to try out. And if you want to write your CSS in Sass-like conventions, but still you don't want to have the build and compilation step, so then CSC might be able to help you out. And then finally, if you're like me who don't want a bundling and compilation step, who really wants a bundleless solution for your web applications with CSS and JS capabilities, then CSC is the perfect tool for the job. So what is CSC? CSC is runtime CSS modules with Sass-like preprocessing. It is created by Luke Jackson. Luke is a front-end developer from London. Luke has also created some other amazing tools like Server, Perflink, etc. CSC is super tiny in the sense it is just 49 lines of JavaScript. What I mean by 49 lines is the physical lines with line breaks in between. If you remove the line breaks, it just comes to 31 lines, and it can fit entirely in a single slide. So whatever you're seeing in this particular slide is the entire source code of CSC library. How cool is that? And there is a thing called bundlephobia.com where you can check the production footprint of the libraries you are using. And CSC is 12.3 KB minified and just 5 KB when compressed with gzip. It has got no external dependencies, and it is completely framework agnostic in the sense you can use it in any framework. It is not specifically tailored to work with any other framework, unlike style components, which is mainly targeted for component based frameworks like React.js. You can use CSE in frameworks like React, Ember, Vue.js, Preact, and Svelte. It just works seamlessly. And the whole scope of the project is just only generating class names during runtime and rule set isolation. So Luke was inspired by style components and emotion, but neither of these packages exposes an ES compatible build, ES module compatible build. So he went on created his own library. And then loading style sheets from CSS files dynamically is supported out of the box in CSE. It is one of the selling points for CSE, and everything happens during runtime. There is no compilation here. And if you want to use Sass like conventions, if you want to write your styles in Sass, you can use something like nested selectors, global style injection. So all these things you can do with CSE. So how does CSE can be able to give you this is like CSE uses something called stylus. Stylus is used to parse styles from tag template literals, and then they're processed and appended to the head of the document at runtime. So Stylus is a lightweight CSS preprocessor that is created by Sultan Tarimo. It is a preprocessor which is used by libraries like Style Components and Emotion. Stylus supports a wide array of features like nesting, selector namespacing, vendor prefacing, and so on. And then finally, this is the icing on the cake. Like if you want a tool with no build, if you want to use a CSS and JS library without any bundlers like Webpack or something like that, you don't want to compile everything. So then CSE is the perfect tool for the job, as I said earlier, because it doesn't require any compilation. Everything works on the fly. So how do you use CSE? You can import it like any other package using ES6 imports if you are using a bundler like Webpack or anything else. Or if you are using it directly in the browser, you can just hotlink from unpackage.com. Unpackage is a global fast CDN for everything on NPM. You can use it easily and quickly load any file from any package from using the URL unpackage.com, package, version, and file name. It was created by Michael Jackson. Did you know Michael Jackson created unpackage.com in one night? He hacked together something at an airport while waiting for the plane and then named it as npmcdn.com. About a year later, he changed the name to unpackage.com and got stuck. So, and this is how you use CSE for inline usage. You just give tag template literals with the CSS style definitions. Everything is here is plain CSS. There is no need for any naming case conversion like you have to use camel case for hyphenated keys or something like that. You just write your plain CSS within the tag template literals, and CSE will automatically process it. And this is how you load external style sheets. You can use the relative URL paths from your base URL, or if you're loading a remote style sheet, you can use the absolute URL using CSE. And this is a typical Hello World example which you might have seen in style components documentation. Here you can see we are using CSE for the class names with the div and the h1 tag. So, and everything is converted into the style class definitions like here on the right and appended to the document at the end of the runtime. So this is another variation of the same pattern, a more standard and common thing used like without having to declare everything or writing everything in inline. You can create style objects and then use those objects instead of the inline strings. So the style definitions are created and scoped automatically. And this is how you adapt based on the properties for a particular component. Like here, this is a button component with a primary property. If you pass the primary property, the background color and the color will be changed accordingly. And this is how you can use pseudo selectors, sibling selectors, pseudo elements using CSE. Like since CSE uses stylus as the parser, so stylus supports all these things. You can use it very well with CSE as well. And CSC also supports keyframe and animation namespacing. Whatever keyframe namings you are given here will be automatically converted to dynamic namespace during runtime. So this is an example of how you implement themes using CSC. So this is a simple button component with theming properties for the color and the border property. So the color is taken from the default theme main value, which is pale violet red. If you give a particular custom theme with a color, in this case it is medium sea green, so that color will be applied automatically. Instead, the default color will be applied if no theme is given. And now we'll look at the internals of CSC, how it works, what are the different moving parts involved. So CSC is a simple library, so you can visualize them in just 8 simple steps. The first stage is loading stylus. So CSC actually uses a local copy of stylus.js within its repository. So it ensures that it doesn't pull in any external npm dependencies. So the minified stylus.js is part of the CSS library itself. And then the second part is creating the dynamic hash. So CSC uses the random function from the standard math library in JavaScript and then converting the random number to a base 36 string representation and then removing the whole number in the decimal part and just keeping the fraction part for the hash. And a small trivia for the audience, do you know what base 36 number system is known as? You might have come across binary and octal number systems. So similarly, base 36 number system is known as hexadecimal. You know, while preparing for the slides, when I found out this name, I got a new way to really annoy people. Like when somebody asks me, "Hey, how old are you?" I'll say, "Hey, I am hexadecimal." Okay. So the next stage is adding internal style sheets. You create a new internal style sheet with document.createElement style tag and append it to the head of the document. And then this is a temporary rule set to prevent flashes of unstale content. So by default, the dynamic generated class name is applied with the display none property, which will be applied by default. This will come handy for while loading external style sheets because most of the time the external style sheets will take some time to download and process. So till then, it will hide everything in the DOM using this particular rule set, so that you don't have you don't get any flashes of unstale content. So this is an example for FUOC. As you can see, the browser renders as soon as it encounters the DOM, so it does not wait for JavaScript. So if you are styling in JavaScript, then you might experience flashes of unstale content. And caching is one of the best things with CSC. It has got one of the best caching mechanisms. You can cache both inline styles and external style sheets loaded from local and remote. So this is how the cache key is created. Whether it checks the key, the tag template title starts with a slash and determines that it is an URL. So it just gives the name. Otherwise, it will process the name for the cache key. So this is an example. So this with the inline definition, the cache key itself becomes the style definition, and for URLs, the URL is the cache key. So if the particular thing is already in the cache, it will just return it from the cache. Otherwise, it will process it. Let me take another example where caching is effective. Like let's say you're using two inline style definitions, text align center for the two p tags here. So CSC will create only one class definition for the same, because here in this case the cache key is text align center, which is the same for both the p tags. So the dynamically generated class name will be applied to both the p tags. So instead of creating two class definitions, it just create only one. And then finally the class name is prepended with CSC dash with the dynamically generated hash, and both the keys and the class names are sent to processing. So this is the processing engine where everything happens. This is where stylus comes into play, and it will check whether the key is an external style sheet or not. Based on that, it will apply the class name show. So each external style sheet is a small iterative function to check whether it is a inline style definition or a URL. So URLs is going to take time to download. So as we saw earlier, this hide class will be applied first before fetching the external style sheet. Once the external style sheet is fetched and processed, Then we will append the styles to the head of the document. Otherwise, it will just append the styles. So finally, it returns a class name. So this is the entire code for CSC. That's all. So it's a simple library which has got excellent capabilities. So let's see some demo. So here you're seeing a simple React application. So before that, I'll show something. Yeah, so this demo, it's created with a tool called Snowpack. Snowpack is actually a modern lightweight tool chain for creating web apps. So without any bundler or compilation step, it makes use of ES modules as well as the rollup bundler. So it's very cool. Please check it out. So Snowpack actually got a lot of application templates. It has got a tool called CLI tool called Create Snowpack app, just like your Create React app. So it has got Create Snowpack app. So with a lot of application templates for different frameworks, like you can create React applications, Vue, Svelte, Preact, and lot other applications using the Create Snowpack app. So the demo which you're going to see is created using this particular template. So the command is like npx create snowpack, the application name is next demo, and the template I'm using here is React template. So template is snowpack app template React, and then I'm using Yarn as the package manager. So once you've given this, so you will be created a default project setup, project boilerplate, as you can see here, and this is a simple example, hello world kind of example. So I already started the server here. You have to just fire npm start to start the server, and this is how the output will look like. So let's style the components using CSC. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to import the CSC library, import CSS. So I'm just aliasing it as CSS from, I'm going to import it directly from unpackage.com CSC. Okay, and then I'm going to apply a class name. I'm going to use the inline styling part. So CSS, and let's give some background color. Background is papaya, and then text styling center. So let's save it. Let's see. You got styling applied automatically. Let's inspect the styling here. What we have got. So it will be in the head of the document. So there you can see this is the style definition, the dynamic generator, and the class name. So let's add one more style here for the h1 tag. And let's say color, change color as pale violet red, and I'm giving font size like 4M, and say yeah. So it's applied. So as I said earlier, CSC can also load external style sheets. So let's load an external style sheet. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to wrap this with another div tag, this particular entire component, and I'm going to load the external style sheet here. We're going to load a tailwind.css here, so you can directly load it from unpackage.com /tailwind css / list tailwind.min.css. Okay, and then I'm just going to remove all this class definition because we are going to use utility classes from Tailwind. Okay, so let's say this bg blue 300 and this text center. So let's check here. See, so the one thing here is there is no flash of unstyled content. So because as I said earlier, it will uh, prevent the flash unstyle content by applying a display none property to the default class name, and then once the class external style sheet is fetched, and then only it will render the DOM. So this is so this entire Tailwind CSS you're seeing here. So this is a class name, dynamically class name. Everything is scoped with that class name here. Okay. So presentation. So yeah, that's all from the demo. These are some sample projects I created for other frameworks like React, Vue, how you can CSE in different frameworks. So you can go and check it out. So all these applications are created using Create Snowpack app. And then in the main thing, like in this CSE repository, in the test folder, you might find all the example code here. Whatever I showed in the slides code, all are taken from this repository. And these are some references if you want to get to know more CSS and JS stuff. And and finally, thank you all, and thank you once again for Pika for making UX Next happen. Thank you.